its management, or BZ Media Group.
Good afternoon, Greater Philadelphia area. This is Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Timon. We both work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the number one RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we are talking about this NAR clear cooperation decision in our next segment. There's a new Alabama law that's allowing buyers to tour homes without a contract. That's pretty fascinating. But first, we're going to talk about the Fed meeting and inventory levels and the 5 states where we're seeing home prices drop, according to Alto's research. So if you get some value out of this or you like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to schedule a call with Sarah from our team, she's got many happy clients here, many listeners to the show. You can do that with the link in the comments. So the Fed meeting happened last week. The Federal Reserve held rates. What do you think about all that, Sarah? Expected, unexpected, any market reaction? Give us your breakdown here.
Yeah, I mean, it was like very upper 90% chance that it was going to be held, right? So I feel like no surprise there. I think that as far as like rate impact and stuff goes, people already like expected that. So it was already kind of considered with what all is going on.
Yeah, right on the money. I mean, this is, I wish all Fed meetings were like this, where you're like, it kind of goes by and things happen and the market keeps moving instead of what's been going on the past 24, 36 months. So, the Fed comments are always the most interesting part. And uncertainty was the favorite word of Jerome Powell. It popped up frequently in his statements regarding the U.S. economy, including recession risk and the likelihood of tariff retaliation. Housing only popped up twice. One reporter mentioned it in passing, while most reporters focused on the tariff issues. And Jerome Powell did note that housing services inflation was improving and easier to pin down than the inflation caused by tariffs. I mean, we didn't really see much happen from the Fed meeting. I don't know that it's that big of a deal.
Right.
So, if you look at the housing-related comments, again, Chairman Powell referenced using housing and services inflation as an example of improvement and distinguishing it from tariff-related inflation. There was also some examples of growth risks and a couple things. I didn't think the Fed meeting was that big of a deal. I mean, this is kind of to be expected here. They did foreshadow 2 rate cuts later in the year. I mean, a lot of people are predicting that we're going to see lower rates towards the end of the year. I don't know. There's a whole lot to talk about here with this Fed meeting.
Right. Yeah. I think it just kind of came and went and nothing like wildly unexpected happened.
So get out of here, Jerome Powell. I love it. All right. So we'll move on from him. Now, what I do want to do is I want to talk about reasons to be optimistic. I look at the Fed not doing anything as a reason to be optimistic because a stable market can lead to more predictable decision-making for consumers. Like, I mean, no one likes these up and down markets where they're very unpredictable. Are you kind of feeling that the consumers are like, they may not be thrilled with rates and inventory and all that, but they're pleased with the stability of the market?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not getting as like a regular thing, it coming up so much with just like, where are the rates going to be at tomorrow? What's going on with this? What's going on with that? It's just kind of like, even if you're always going to want things to be better than what they are, right?
Yes.
But it's steady. So that I think has a degree of like comfort to it. And it takes a little of the uncertainty out.
I totally agree with you. And what I want to do, we've done this before. We can play clips now on the show. We mastered this last week.
Yay.
Well, I don't know. I'm playing it on my laptop. So Mike's probably like, what is this clown doing back here? But that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to play this clip here because I am clear there's some reasons to be optimistic about housing right now, especially given what's happened over the past couple of years. So let's see if we can do this here. Hold on. Give it a second here. So this is from David Childers at Keeping Current Matters. And what he's talking about is one of the biggest reasons that buyers should be optimistic. That didn't work. Hold on.
going back the last 5 years, take a look at this graphic from Realtor.com. It shows all the way back to 2017, the number of active listings each February. And like I said, more homes are on the market right now than the last 5 years. Here's why that's important. If you've been thinking about buying a home, now is the time to get out and look. Hey, listen, there are more homes on the market right now than there have been going back the last 5 years.
All right, so we got the point here, right? So more homes on the market than the last 5 years. I mean, are you feeling there's some optimism? Because you work with people over a long time period, and I think that's one of the reasons why you have a sustainable business. A lot of agents, they look for these quick hits that it's not predictable. Are you feeling there's more optimism around inventory levels than there have been the past 5 years?
I think yes, and I think both because there is more inventory and because along with the spring, it tends to just produce we're kind of back to that more seasonal market where we are seeing more of a pop here in the spring. So you've got the fact that there are more and the fact that like every day more coming up is coming soon, which is great. And it gives you options and kind of lets you plan things out a little bit.
I agree with you there. And there's a couple things happening. Absorption has slowed, right? Homes aren't selling as fast as they used to. They're still selling very fast. I mean, the median time to contract right now in the entire Bright MLS is 19 days. Just last week, we're seeing that inventory is up 9.9% compared to a year ago in terms of new listings. And the active listings, and this is a big number here. So the week ending March 23rd, 2025, so just this past Monday, for all of the entire Bright MLS service area. So again, that's Virginia, DC, Jersey, the greater Philadelphia area is up 22.8%. So that's a monster number here. And the people that, the complaints we usually get are rates are too high. Nothing you can do about that. Jerome Powell just told us, right?
Yep.
So we have to bring him back here on the show. When you see inventory climb like this, I mean, if I'm one of these buyers that have, or even a home seller where I wanted to move and I couldn't find anything, I'm a lot more optimistic now that there's options out there.
Right.
And I'm clear buyers are feeling that too. I mean, you've been putting a number of homes under contract over the past couple of weeks here. I mean, are you feeling the optimism when you're talking to folks?
Yes. I mean, it depends on like everybody's different, right? So it depends on how long we've been looking, how many offers we've put in. There's a lot of different factors that are going to go into that. But being able to, properly coach on, and we don't know exactly, like there could be a home that pops up that all of the data tells us, this is what makes sense. This is probably how long we've got, yada, yada, yada. For some person, that could have been what they've been waiting for, right? So it gets snatched up right away. It goes for, the pricing and the terms is more than what we would have offered. But it allows you to kind of show like, hey, this is probably what it would most likely take to secure it. And then just giving them different options and then letting them set the thresholds for how far, like, what they want to do and what their comfort level is, and not having to and there are some homes that are still going like very, very quickly, but being able to like review it with them and be like, let's talk tomorrow. Yeah. Having a night to sleep on something just is great.
Well, I mean, this is a huge financial decision for a lot of people. So the fact that they have like a day to think about it instead of you got to decide in the driveway right now, which that still happens. And nobody likes that unless they've lost out on maybe one or two homes and they're kind of in that mode to see if they need to make a decision on the spot, which is, I think, is a smart thing for buyers to mentally prepare for. But you can tell someone something's going to happen. It's a lot different than actually going through it. And most people, they move every 12 years. That's the average. It's 11.7 years. So I was talking with Greg Schwartz, the CEO of and founder of Tomo Mortgage. So he did something pretty interesting, which we do at our company, where he took his desk and he moved it to the middle of the sales floor. And I'm constantly on this. You're on the sales floor all the time too. And he did that to hear what people are saying. He wanted to hear what was going on. And the overarching theme, and in my view, mortgages are a lot tougher right now than real estate sales because they're getting beat up all the time. The rates, they're treated as a commodity. He is feeling more optimism in the market than he's seen in the past couple of years. And it wasn't necessarily a great time to like start a mortgage company in the middle of all this.
Sure.
Greg decided to do that. So he's hearing that this is over throughout the entire industry, we're hearing a lot of people are optimistic because there's homes on the market, rates are stable, they're the lowest level we've seen since January, and I'm clear this is going to be the mentality of a lot of buyers and sellers as they head into the spring that, hey, there's a reason to be optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on the same page there. So
Yeah.
now the thing you want to think about here is that, in our state and where we are in Pennsylvania, we're seeing that, the pricing numbers year over year in Pennsylvania are up 6.2%. That's the 90-day average year over year. There are 5 states right now that have seen prices decline, and part of this rising inventory has softened prices, but sales are still lagging down. So if you look at some of these numbers here, I mean, Pennsylvania is up in terms of inventory, 11.3% overall. Obviously, it's a little more based on Bright, but we're seeing 3.5% fewer homes in contract than in 2024. Are you feeling like there's less sales happening right now? Like, tell me about what this means to you.
I don't know. I don't know that I can say that it feels like there's less sales.
And I would argue that you're not feeling that because you're actually working hard and doing things. I mean, I do feel it's tougher to put sales together. I think it's a lot more challenging to put a deal together than it has been the past 2 years. I mean, think about what we were talking about before the show here, right? Like, are you seeing deal issues that haven't happened in a very long time?
Yeah, some of them are certainly coming up. And I feel like there is a bit more maybe back and forth that actually happens before it gets under contract than what I had seen before. Like, it's not just necessarily, everybody's writing their offers and the seller's just selecting one. Like, I've noticed a little bit more prior to getting under contract, like, going back and forth with the agent to figure out like how we can make it work. Like, there might not just be like a pile of unbelievable offers there.
I agree. I mean, you're seeing the numbers here. I mean, I look at it that we're seeing some homes like they sit on the market a little bit. I think there's some hesitation in the market right now, even though that we're seeing these numbers come in. I mean, yeah, it's great to see like prices are up, but I think we've all shown listings or been in homes where it's like, I thought this place would have sold by now, right? And I haven't said that in a very long time. So, that's a really good example when you see 5 states where prices are declining. So it's Washington, Texas, Georgia, South Carolina, and Montana. I hope I'm reading the map right here, Sarah. And when you get into the Northwest there, I get a little uncertain. I'm pretty clear it's Montana.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I'm joking. But so looking at those, I mean, then you see like Florida's up 0.2%. Arizona is up 1.3%. I mean, you're seeing some of these places where they've seen a lot of inventory. The prices are pretty flat. And then the Northeast obviously is very green. Because there's less inventory there. I think it's a really good example of that. And when you're looking at inventory growth, I mean, California's seen almost a 50% inventory growth. You've got Florida at 38.4, Texas 30.4, Arizona 38.4, New Mexico in the same range. So when you see this stuff happen, I think that there are reasons to be optimistic. You've got to be careful not to be so optimistic that you think the market has swung the other way.
Right.
Do you have anyone like that? Have you run into that where, people that they hear, oh, well, inventory's up. I mean, prices are coming down. They're just not very realistic about the market.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you deal with that? Because I think
they didn't get a house.
Well, yeah.
No, just kidding. Yeah, I think just kind of, you want to listen to what they have to say, and then you just want to show them and give case examples of, I mean, I feel like I like giving numbers. I like giving, some of the data there, but then also giving actual real life examples of situations and scenarios and showing like where you can use, if there is a little bit of a shift, like how you can take advantage of that and have that work for you, but without the expectation that now it's completely gone the other way. There are, in certain situations, absolutely things that you are able to get to work into deals to negotiate out, but thinking that it's just, and what's funny is I feel like in some of these where you kind of go through the scenario and lay out like where it's most likely going to go, and they don't want to go there, and then it goes under contract right away, and then when it makes it to settlement, you can see it did what was expected. Like, that's what's happening.
And that's where this to me is it's so important with these changes that we've seen. And we're going to talk about this law with Alabama in a little bit, but the fact that you get a chance to actually talk to a buyer before you go to show them a home, what we're seeing the most savvy agents do is let's have a meeting. Let's talk first before we go out, and you got to sign an agreement and get into a house. And not everyone's going to listen all the time. I've certainly done that on the consumer side. I'm sure you have too. But when you explain things up front and then people kind of see it happen, it's a little easier pill to swallow than why didn't you tell me this? What's going on? And the challenge is that with agents right now, and I think this is any salesperson, is that you've got to remember that the consumer is the one looking to you for guidance, and the consumer is the one with a problem. Now, that maybe not a problem, but they're trying to find a home, they want to sell. They've got something that needs to get done, and they're coming to Sarah Timon or somebody else to solve that for them. And when agents come across really needy, and you know what I'm talking about, they get so excited they just want to book the appointment and move them down the funnel instead of just asking questions they should be asking everybody. It helps set the stage for that. And there's some data out there that I think it's 42% of or 10% of the agents control 42% of the listings now or something. I'll look it up at the break, and it's the most ever. Well, that's because there's too many people that are so needy for business, and they're not really presenting this hey, I'm here to help you. I understand your problem. I'm going to give you guidance. And then all of a sudden, when you're helping people, they're not hiring because they like you. I mean, just if you, Dale Carnegie said this, people buy things from people they like. If that was true, you probably buy everything from your actual friends. Is that what happens?
Yeah.
You buy everything from your actual friends?
Oh, no. If that was true, I mean, if I had an actual friend selling what I needed, and they were good.
Yeah, well, but I think that's different, right? But I mean, but you would be buying things from, I have some friends I wouldn't buy things from intentionally, and I think it's that's very clear. So when, as an agent, you're presenting this data and treating everyone like a client, it's such a valuable strategy because it's not only going to help the consumer, it's going to help you with your business, and it avoids those disappointments of when the market goes the other way and people don't want to hear you.
Right. I'd agree with that.
All right, so we got a lot of reasons to be optimistic here, Sarah. So we're seeing the most homes for sale since, I guess it was in the last 5 years. We're seeing prices are softening in some places. We're seeing inventory continuing to rise. Rates have come down. The Fed's not micromanaging the economy. A lot of good stuff here. So all the more reason to talk to a professional like Sarah. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We've got to talk about off MLS listings costing sellers thousands of dollars. And NAR, the National Association of Realtors, came out with a clear cooperation decision. We'll unpack that next on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
You shouldn't have to sacrifice service to get a great rate. Visit the Sutera team at Cross Country Mortgage. We are your local Pennsylvania lending experts with loans that fit nearly any unique home buying situation, including first-time buyer options, low to no down payment options, and non-agency products. Get a free pre-approval now at ccm.com.
You guys got any vacations going on or anything? Just planning a lot, but I had to sit down with Bridget the other night.
We're going to the Outer Banks in May this year, so we're doing the beginning rather than, because usually we would go in September, so it's not going to work.
So we're having a baby.
Right. We might make it up to visit my sister in Toronto, and then we've got some weekend, long weekend type things, but nothing crazy. What about you guys?
Sure.
Yeah.
She's got so much freaking dance. I'm telling you,
yeah.
And she's got these competitions. We're just oh, which one are you gonna come to? And Leo's looking at me. He's
Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments.
You know how to sleep over with her dance friends on Saturday? I never met these girls. Oh, here's these studs coming from some dancing in a room. Oh my gosh. And then I go down to the gym, they're down there, and she's got this dance bar and stuff. It smells I'm you girls need deodorant. I'm this is they're all sweaty.
Yeah.
And then Brent and Leo were oh my God, Dad, we got to do something without her. I can't. And then, so we went to dinner. Then with the PJ, we go to PJ.
Yeah.
Gina's there with Bridget. You guys can't sit with us. Let's go to another table. And she threw us out. And I'm
oh my gosh.
Sassaman girl.
Yeah.
They didn't want to sit with her anyway, so it was fine. But
right.
We know real estate.
I hope Maddie's not like this.
Oh, I'm sure she will be.
We hire the best agents and we give them all the tools.
The other day she got mad at me and told me maybe I should go live somewhere else. She's 3. I was
Gina used to do that stuff to me.
Experience in real estate. Teams
I don't get the
deliver a
sense
better
you're that kind of kid,
experience than
Sarah. You seem like you're a
individuals,
pretty,
and we're a top
pretty easy
1%
kid.
real
Yeah.
estate team in the country.
Gina is,
We
oh
call
my
it
gosh.
AAA service.
Oh,
We're your
no.
advocate, ally, and advisor.
Like they
Because
convinced me to
this
go
isn't
outside
a
at like
transaction
8:45
to
on
us. It's a
Saturday. We're having like a
relationship.
Nerf gun
If
fight
you're
in our
buying or
yard.
selling
It's
a
actually
home,
pretty
call the
fun.
Tom
That's
Toole
fun.
Sales Group at
Oh, it's kind
RE/MAX
of cold. It's like,
610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. That's Tom, Toole with an E.com. Sell your home for more, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole. Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over 10 seconds? Whether you have
It's
a
so funny,
license
though. It's
or
like,
not, call us today
I'm
at
dealing with,
610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. Join our team, the Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line.
all right, all right. Welcome back to Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Time, and we both work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we are talking about this clear cooperation decision NAR made and what happens when people sell homes off the MLS. So I want to talk about this clear cooperation decision first, Sarah. And if you get some value out of this, you'll like what you hear, subscribe to the channel. Or if you need to talk to Sarah about how to navigate all this stuff, you can do that with the link in the comments. Many happy listeners have been Sarah's clients over the past couple months here. So we got a few people that could help her with that. So clear cooperation. So this has been ongoing. I mean, it's very interesting, this whole thing. So there was a policy that got released today, effective immediately, with an implementation deadline of September 30th. So this is what NAR came out with. It's called Multiple Listing Options for Sellers, and it is aimed at expanding marketing flexibility. It's going to complement the existing MLS policy. So the clear cooperation policy is staying in place. It allows the seller to instruct their agent to delay public marketing of the listing through the IDX and syndications. That's how they get on all the different websites. The delay window will be determined by each local MLS based on what aligns with their local market needs. During the delayed marketing period, the listing remains accessible to MLS participants through the platform. A signed disclosure is required for sellers. That's always been the case, confirming that sellers informed their agent that they wanted to waive immediate public marketing. And the same disclosure requirement applies to both delayed marketing exempt listings and office exclusives. This doesn't sound like any sort of change to me.
Wait, so it's saying what? That they will, by delaying, like it's just on the MLS, or it can be on other sites and not the MLS.
So it's not going to go to the public IDX exchange. That's like where it goes everywhere. And this is just like a nothing. Like this is such a, I'm going to ride the fence and not make any. It's like a loser decision from NAR. I mean, This is just, and they want to give sellers options. The buyers, they want to give buyers access. I mean, it's just like they didn't do anything. I mean, this is Kevin Sears' statement, this guy, right? The NAR president. NAR continually reviews its MLS policies to ensure they best serve its members and the consumers while also mitigating and avoiding potential legal risks. As such, NAR undertook a comprehensive review of CCP as part of our efforts to ensure home sellers and home buyers have the information and flexibility they need to make decisions that work for them. These policy changes allow for greater choice for sellers in marketing their properties while considering buyers' needs to access information through MLSs. NAR is grateful for our members' engagement through this process. We're pleased to have reached an outcome that balances the needs and perspectives of our diverse membership. I don't think this says anything.
Wait, so what did they do? What
They
did
have this. Well, they have this. They call it the MLS listing options for sellers. So the seller can instruct their agent to delay public marketing. The delay window is going to be determined by the MLS, which has always been the case. They've had this before. And the listing can be accessible to MLS participants through the MLS platform. So what I'm guessing is that it's going to, I mean, like there's a way for people to see this stuff, but it's just, I mean, it's like, why say anything at all? I mean, either get rid of it or don't. I don't really,
so they're basically just saying like it's still here, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay.
They have an office exclusive, which they already had. That's an exempt listing. They have the delayed marketing. That's it.
Yeah.
Same thing that's been going. And like, by the way, Bright does like not even enforce this. Bright MLS will not enforce this anymore because there's so much talk about this. I don't really think this is over. I think you're going to see more people even complain about this. And I mean, you got Robert Refkin, who's been like adamant about it. You've got other people on the other side. Robert Refkin had an Instagram post that came out last week. It said it will be both predictable and telling to watch brokerage CEOs who denounce private exclusives quietly adopt them. The same leaders insisting these strategies are harmful to sellers will within a year be packaging and promoting their own exclusive off-market solutions. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when.
Interesting.
Well, I think there's some value to anytime you tell a buyer like, hey, I got something that's not on the MLS, like they get pretty excited.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And it attracts business. So I get it from his side. I also get the argument of having, buyers have access to all the information. And what do you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's creating a bigger issue by having so much back and forth about it, I think. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there is I don't know exactly what word I'm looking for, but when it's something that's off market, if it is like not everybody has access to it, it does certainly like drive up interest, as long as it's something that sells and fetches the price that it should get, right? Like if it doesn't, and then you haven't expanded it to everyone, then certainly money could be left on the table.
That is documented. And I think that's the thing that you need to look at here. I mean, if you, there was an article that came out, Zillow did a study that home sellers have lost $1 billion through private deals since 2023. I mean, and I've seen this happen where I'm sure you have too. I mean, there was a home like on my street that I know this happened to when we were talking to the seller. The number we told them versus what they sold it for. I mean, I'm talking like hundreds of thousands of dollars less, like multiple. Right. And so it's the stat that Zillow came out with. It was that the average home seller who privately listed their home lost just right around $5,000 since 2023, and then they went on about like all these different numbers that were there. But I mean, Bright has a study that they do this with. It's called the Off MLS study. It's 13 to 17% less.
Right.
So for an average sale price of 500,000, let's take 13 on the low end. I mean, you're talking about, let's do the math here, right? It's about $65,000. It's a lot of money. So but that's not what everyone wants. I do like the idea of a seller having options. I think that's really important. It's just like another NAR, like nonsense, nothing, loser. We don't want to take anybody off decision, which is pretty predictable from them.
Right. No, I mean, I think it should be the seller's choice, as long as the seller is properly being informed as to like what it all means.
I agree with that. I mean, that's I mean, there are some people that want to do these things, or they kind of want to test, like, maybe I'll ask a higher number and see what happens. And if we don't get what we want, then we'll go from there. I just don't, I would love NAR to like do something that requires a backbone. Sure. I mean, that would be nice. So, I think that's the, I mean, that's, that would be helpful. So I think that would be nice to have, but they're not going to do it. Right. It's, I mean, it's like, it's really a problem. So it's a typical NAR decision.
And do we have like numbers on, I'm sure they've polled agents or brokerages for like what people, like which way they wanted to go?
I don't know that there's a survey, but there's definitely like two sides of this. Like you have people like EXP, they're very pro clear cooperation. Obviously Zillow is very pro clear cooperation because that affects their business. And then you have the other side of this, like Compass, which is anti clear cooperation. I mean, I think it's kind of split down the middle. I mean, our job is,
I wonder of the anti-clear cooperations, how much business they do on like the helping clients on the buy side for properties that are on the MLS.
Say that again.
So I wonder, like, for the companies that are pro, like, or like anti-clear cooperation, and they want to keep things like in-house or like pocket listings or whatever. I wonder, like, it would just be interesting to know what like amount of deals they do for like outside of their office exclusives for people on like the buy, like if they have a seller, then they help them on like the buy side.
I think it's so hard to figure that out because it's not like public information. I mean, Compass, their my theory here, I mean, I'll get out the tinfoil hat, is that, you know, they're trying to buy Berkshire Hathaway, right? And they have this private exclusive thing they do. They want to control the market. I mean, that's what they're trying to, I mean, that's what I see. Now I am a big believer that, like, the more listings you have, the better off you're going to be. I was talking about that data that's out there. And I mean, we focus on that all the time. I think listings are like oil right now in real estate, meaning like everyone wants it. You got to have it. It's just, and then the people that have the most listings are going to control the market. So I think that's what it is. I mean, it was the number here is the top 10% of agents control 42.64% of listings, which I also believe. I mean, you think about that. I mean, there's very few times you see like these like 1 or 2 off listings. So there's a lot of reasons that you know, this is interesting. I just don't. I just wish NAR would have done something. I mean, it's such like I think this is going to keep going on. This isn't going to stop. Like NAR didn't. They had their decision coming the end of the month, and then it didn't do anything.
Right.
It's pretty typical. Now, I think there's some other things to think about here too, Sarah. So Michael Ketchmark, you remember him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our good friend here. So if you don't know who Michael Ketchmark is, he spearheaded the NAR settlement that settled in August, and he talked about clear cooperation just last week. It was on March 19th, and what he went on to talk about was he had an interview with Inman, and he said that realtor organizations need to be aware of the fact that not only will our law firm and other attorneys be looking at CCP, but the eyes of the world are upon them, and it's time to do the right thing and let homeowners make the decision about their houses and not a bureaucratic organization. He went on to say that should be in the forefront of the minds of men and women who are going to be voting either later this week or next week on that policy. If they're doing it for the wrong reasons, they're going to be held accountable. And then Doug Miller, so he's an attorney from Miller Law who represented plaintiffs in the commission lawsuits as well. With these office exclusive, agents are telling their clients they can use the internal network to test the market, when in reality, what they are doing is tricking their own clients into this through misleading scripts, convincing them to agree to keep the house off the market so the broker could try and get a double commission. I don't think that theory is that far off.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Right. And I think there would be scripts. I mean, you can kind of twist things to sound any way you want, right? So, but right, like what other, test the market with price. I mean, if you're running the numbers and you're looking, there's I would say few cases that you really need to actually test it. Like at the end of the day, in most cases, you should be able to kind of pinpoint a good range or a good number there, right? Like certainly there are some that like testing could be helpful. But you don't just get something for nothing. So if you're getting this test through it being an office exclusive, you are opening yourself up to having the brokerage get both ends of it. And obviously that's beneficial to the brokerage.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, when I look at this, sure, like it would be great to like double end every listing. Of course, like that's great for our business. You've got a duty to the public, and a lot of like doing the right thing is always going to be the right thing. And you know, if I'm sitting down with a seller, I can't sit there and say our office exclusive is the way to go. Like the best way to get the best price is get as many people looking at the home as possible.
Right. And then if somebody on your team has the buyer that brings the best thing, fantastic. Or if you have the buyer, but like have that proven by opening it up to everyone, right? Like, and they're still the best.
Yeah, and I mean that's also you represent both people, right? Yeah. Like it's such a challenging thing, and you never want to be in a spot where there's like a gray area, and they're like, did Sarah do the right thing here? Did Tom do the right thing? I want everything to be so clear that we are representing people. Now, I know a lot of agents don't feel this way. I mean, we've dealt with these people all the time. I don't ever want to be questioned, because the lifetime value of a client isn't just the one transaction. Right. It's the referrals you get from them afterwards. It's the trust that they build. I mean, you think about some of the, the first people that you've helped or I helped. I mean, they send you more business because they trust you.
Right.
And this CCP thing. I mean, it's just if the seller wants to do it, fine. It shouldn't be, hey, we've got our internal network and all that. Not. I mean, what Doug Miller's saying here is pretty right on.
Yeah, I agree.
So, what do you think happens with Clear Cooperation? Is this going to stop it here with NAR's groundbreaking policy vote that they had today?
No. I think it's going to continue to just be a topic of discussion that is like that can't necessarily be enforced because, or that, you know what I mean? Because there's too much like what's going on. Is it, isn't it? And it's just going to still be a thing that we're talking about. I feel like for quite a way down the road.
Yeah, I don't think, the challenge here is NAR has done what they've done, where they've just been like you ever shake someone's hand, you get like the dead fish handshake?
Mm-hmm.
That's NAR. That's what they do. They go through the motions, they give you a dead fish handshake, and then they kind of go from there. And you've got other industry leaders that are pushing one way or the other. I'd love them to have an opinion. And if they're going to follow the code of ethics and what's best for the consumer, I think it's, you give them the option, and there's like a disclosure form, and it's like, by signing this, I'm aware, and that's it. But you either got to get rid of it or keep it, one of the two. I don't care which one. I would have just loved a decision to be made instead of, we're going to have another policy that we're going to add. It's like, how many policies are we going to have about this?
Right. And what we wouldn't want to happen is a lawsuit down the line for, I wasn't aware that keeping things in-house meant less money, that like I maybe didn't get the best deal. And you know what I mean? Like I feel like we're still ongoing. I mean, there've been so many lawsuits that I just like almost see that being another one.
I agree. I mean, Michael Ketchmark coming out. That guy loves cashing in on lawsuits, right?
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
he
he's so, he knows what he's saying here. And I mean, this goes on and on. And then if you look at this Doug Miller, who was also involved in these commission lawsuits, he went on to say that it's kind of hard to claim to be a fiduciary for your client when you completely dispense with the ideas of supply and demand by hiding a listing from all possible buyers.
Right.
Those who don't want CCP are putting a restraint on trade. They're trying to keep competitors out, and they're trying to make this some kind of service that it's not. This serves no one except the brokers that are doing this, and I consider it to be misleading. I understand both sides here. It's got to be, hey, I choose option one or option two. I think it's got to be that clear for a seller. And it's like, hey, I want it off market or I don't.
Right.
And I understand these are the risks that I'm taking. And it can't be like one of these forms where it's like really long. It's got to be like abundantly clear.
Right. Right. So that it's like at one snapshot, it's boiled down and you can see what you're really dealing with.
Could not agree more. So all that in mind, we're going to take a quick break. We'll see how this is going to keep going. Now we've got another topic about these lawsuits we're going to discuss next here, where the state of Alabama. You ever watch like Forrest Gump, like Mobile, Alabama? Like,
yes,
so it's every time I say that, my kids, that's how they say Alabama. They've passed a law that you don't need a contract to go look at a house if you're a buyer and an agent. Fascinating stuff here. We're going to talk about it next. We'll be right back on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
Getting your mortgage from a big or online bank. At Mortgage America, we have access to big bank money, but with the personalized and detailed service of a local bank. We are here in your community and ready to serve with fast settlements, low down payment options, and first-time homebuyer programs. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. For more information, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000.
When looking for a mortgage, you shouldn't have to sacrifice service to get a great rate. Visit the Sutera team at Cross Country Mortgage. We are your local Pennsylvania lending experts with loans that fit nearly any unique home buying situation, including first-time buyer options, low to no down.
That's a standard email that gets sent when this stuff comes up.
Get a free pre-approval
And they did
now
say
at CCN.com.
we would like to offer small
And search for us,
reimbursement as a show of
Sutera.
faith.
That's SUTERA.
And that might be the couple $100 there.
At Cross
Yeah,
Country
that's exactly
Mortgage.
what they're
When
doing.
it's time to move, we're right behind you.
So I guess I called the listing agent or the buyer's agent and say,
And then what do you want
what do
here?
you want? And don't
I'm
tell them
Tom
about this
Toole
yet.
of the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX
Yeah.
Mainline. If you're thinking of becoming a real estate agent in the greater Philly area, I have a special offer for you. Our team did $165 million of volume in 2021, making us the #1 RE/MAX and a top 1% team nationally. Our agents love us because we offer them a successful career, a great life, and an unbeatable culture. Agents who've been with us for at least a year average 30 plus sales. Even our brand new agents average 17 to 24 sales a year. We offer proven systems and expert training. We help you set more appointments and sell more houses. Now here's the offer. If you don't have a real estate license yet, we offer real estate scholarships so you can get one for free. Check it out at realestatescholarshipprogram.com or visit the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline at tomtoole.com. That's tomtoole.com. Get more out of your real estate career, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole. Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want 10 seconds? Your income. Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Max Main Line.
Welcome back to Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Time, and we both work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we are talking about this new Alabama law that allows buyers to tour homes without a contract. If you get some value out of this, you'll like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. And if you want to talk about what the Pennsylvania's laws say, and you're interested in a transaction there, Sarah Timon can help you out. You can schedule a call with her in the link in the comments. This is fascinating to me, Sarah, that this law got passed. So there's an Alabama bill and was passed into law last week that allows potential home buyers in Alabama to tour homes without having to sign a contract with an agent. It's obviously in complete disagreement with the terms of the NAR Antitrust Commission lawsuit, which stipulates that a written agreement must be in place for in-person and live virtual homebuyer tours for agents who use the MLS. So, I mean, give me your just reaction to this before we even get into the details.
How? Like,
well, there's a settlement and then there's the law, right? And I think that there's two different things here.
So NAR is obviously aware of this. So would NAR, like, what trumps what?
It's a great question because you don't have to be a realtor to have a real estate license, right?
Okay.
I mean, and NAR governs realtors, right? So
is this saying, but this is for the state. It's not just saying non-realtors.
Yes.
It's saying anyone, whether you're a realtor or just a real estate person.
Yes.
In the state of Alabama, you do not need to have this document signed.
Apparently not. And, you know, the Alabama Association of Realtors CEO, Jeremy Walker, said, we're grateful that our members had a voice for the first time in this process through a democratically elected body. From our standpoint, state legislators are the appropriate body to govern laws affecting real estate. So with HB 230 passing, we're excited there's going to be greater transparency for consumers in their first interaction with an agent, the home buying process, and it will allow them the opportunity to build a relationship with an agent before they enter into a buyer's agreement with an agent. So
I don't agree with that because I don't think you would get more transparency.
I think there is
by not
less.
having
Yes.
the conversation.
This is the reason why this got passed. Like I don't know that getting people to sign an agreement, like you have to, you know, we have non-exclusive, exclusive, and all that. I get that because there is like a lock-in even for the one home if you don't like the person. I understand that. The reason this got passed is because you had moron real estate agents saying things like, it's free to use me, or don't worry about it. There's no obligation here. And then they go buy a house and they're like, well, I showed you the home and no one knows what's going on. So I do like the formalization. So I think this is a good thing for people.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't agree with that as well. I'm with you there about the
like if it was something where the only acceptable type of buyer agency agreement was a 6+ month exclusive, certainly that would be very problematic. The fact that there are other ones out there, I think it's just like forcing some of these conversations to happen. And kind of honestly, at the end of the day, saving some of our time, because if there's somebody that's not willing to you can have an abbreviated conversation, because we've all know what it's like to talk to people who clearly are like, speed it up, hurry up, I don't care, let's go, I just want to like see this. You can give them an abbreviated version, but like if somebody can't listen to you for a few minutes to break down what to expect, what's happening, what happens here next, is that somebody you even really want to work with? Like,
Mhm.
so I don't know.
I don't know either, and I mean that and there's some people that don't like this part of the settlement. The NAR goes on to argue that there is flexibility in what kind of written agreement must be in place before showing a home, from non-exclusives to exclusives. But then the states have different, like Pennsylvania has different requirements than other states, right?
Right.
That's just, and we follow the laws in Pennsylvania. That's where we do most of our business. So all of which have to stipulate how much an agent is being compensated. So like these touring agreements, I mean, they're not going to be legal everywhere, and it doesn't really give the buyer a chance to negotiate fees, to ask questions, to make sure they feel comfortable with
Sure.
somebody. So now what the folks in Alabama say, and this is again the Jeremy Walker, the CEO of the Alabama Association of Realtors. He said that they're in favor of buyer contracts, but felt the timing of entering into those contracts was an important factor to consider. And he believes that it gave them grave concern because there are 4 basic elements for any legally enforceable contract. 1 is a valid offer, 2 is valid acceptance, 3 is adequate consideration, and the 4th is mutual consent or a meeting of the minds. I'm not an attorney. I'm just going to go with what he says here. And that people were being forced to enter into these contracts under duress.
Okay.
And I think there is some, like, people, but this is where agents just need to explain things better. Like, I mean, and it's, there's people out there that aren't getting these things signed. I guarantee you
Right.
that there's people not following the terms of the settlement. So that's another thing to consider as well.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I certainly understand, like, and I completely get that, like, you want to get in, you want to see a house. What the heck do you mean I have to sign this? I have to do whatever. Like, sure. But I feel like it would be difficult to set, how would you regulate any other type of time frame? Like, it kind of either has to be like, it has to be done in order to tour, or like, you can't be like, all right, you can show them 5 homes or have be working with them for 3 months, and then something has to be like, that would be impossible to track. That would be crazy. I don't know.
I think you're gonna see more states do this. I mean, Virginia already came out and said something
if they
about
just
this.
did this, I mean, won't every state just do it?
Well, I think it depends on the state, right? I
Yeah.
mean, some states' politics are very different than others. I mean, there's some legal systems that, like, I would not want to be doing business in those states
Yeah.
because they're very pro or anti-business. I know Virginia came out when this all happened and said this isn't really in line with what our what our laws are here. Pennsylvania, like, Zillow has a touring agreement, right? That's not every attorney I talked to said you can't use that in Pennsylvania.
Right.
Even though it's like, oh, this sounds easy, it's great,
Yeah.
but you got to follow the laws. So, I mean, there is some pushback on this. I can think of people we've talked to. They're like, they don't even call back. They're like, I'm not dealing with this. I don't,
Right.
or they want to bring someone in later. But I think that actually is a good thing, because you bring these people in after the fact. It's like, well, what's your standing here in the transaction? Like, there's so many different parts to this.
Have people gotten in trouble and gotten fined for not using the agreements?
I don't know. I do know of people in our marketplace that are not getting these things signed. And it's a concern. I mean, I wouldn't want to be the person overseeing them, right? Like, I wouldn't want to be the person involved in that. I don't know. Like, I think you know me well enough to know, like, I'm like, all right, here's what this says. Here's what we're going to do.
Right.
Because no matter what Alabama's going to do what they're going to do. And I think that's a good thing for agents in Alabama in some ways. I think, and maybe there should be some more transparency, but we have the consumer notice in Pennsylvania, right? You're supposed to give that to people during the first time you talk to them. I know for a fact agents do not do that. And they're like, what do you mean I got to get this? I don't do that all. And like, the licensing law says that. And that's the intent of, we want to be transparent here, right? Because it says none of this stuff happens until you enter into an agreement. So that means you don't keep anything confidential. You don't have to be loyal to that person. You don't have to find them a house, right? I like the non-exclusive in Pennsylvania. I think that's a good thing, because you got to go out and earn the business, but it also protects you if you're showing homes and then someone goes and buys them. That's happened to me where, because we've practiced buyer agency, but we wouldn't have these agreements signed till later in the process. I mean, so, I think that's a positive. I'm just interested to see if other states are going to follow suit. I imagine they will. I think there's going to be more. And you look at, you got to look at the politics of all the states that are involved here too. I mean, I would say like Massachusetts probably isn't rolling this out.
Yeah.
Alabama's probably more likely to.
Yeah. Well, then when it was all states, it was like, this is a national rule. Like if it starts changing state to state, it just muddies the water, I feel like, for what's what.
Well, I wonder if this is going to get challenged. Like, I mean, what happens here? Is Michael Ketchmark going to say anything? There is a lot to unpack with this. And
do you think, is it coming because of buyer pushback or agent pushback?
I mean, it sounds like it's from the board as much as anything else when they pass this. I mean, that's it's very clear. I mean, just based on these statements that were made here, I mean, that looks to be very clearly the case. So,
because I mean, I hear all the time, like we hear the agent side of things all the time. I'm wondering like how big of a thing this is for buyers. I mean, outside of like the conversations I've had and the ones I've heard, like if there's like a poll for like, are consumers upset that they need to sign something? I guess they probably are.
I'd imagine they are. Now, the flip side is, I think as a seller, you got to realize, all right, it's a different environment now. So I might need to prioritize open houses more. I might need to have, because that way you can let folks in. We asked PAR Legal about a listing agent showing a home. You get these inquiries all the time. I'm going to go right to the listing agent. Well, I get this email from PAR Legal, and it's the guy's like talking out of both sides of his mouth. He's like, well, it could be this, but it might not be this. And I'm like,
well, which one is it? I got to know.
I'm just trying to sell houses and help people. And I wish this stuff was a lot clearer. I mean, I think that's the more gray this gets, the worse it is for real estate agents. And I think buyers are going to get confused as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, and if you're hearing different things from different agents at different times, at different brokerages, it's like, well, what's what?
Yeah. And it just, all it does is it makes you look like you're trying to do something. Right. And like people in markets like this, and I would say any market, and real estate agents have no one to blame but their colleagues. People don't always believe what real estate agents say.
Sure. Especially
when the market's getting a little tough, especially when, people say things like, oh, it's a good time to buy and it's a good time to sell. Well, it can't be both. Mm-hmm. I mean, certainly there's opportunities, and agents, they tend to, and it goes back to what I said earlier in the show, where they come across like pushy and desperate, and, and they don't prioritize the consumer's best interest. And it's that's why this is all happened in the first place. So but I don't like that there's another state now that's going against all this. Like this is, there's going to be other states that do this.
There will be. Do
you think that there's any changes here? Like, does this requirement change at all?
So it went August 17th, right? That's the date it went through. So we're not even at a year yet. We're end of March. April, May, June, still like, a little over half a year in. One state's already done this. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time we get to 1 year, there's more states have done something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. So we're going to monitor that.
I think it's going to take another 5 years to figure out what to do.
Well, I think that's just like CCP. This is going to go on. We're not even close to the end of this here. All right. Well, we'll keep talking about it here on Toole Time Real Estate Radio. If you want to follow Sarah, she's at Ty_Ty Time on Instagram. You can follow me at TomToole3RD, and we'll be back next week on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.